I'd like to now introduce CTWEA's Legislative Counsel, Melissa Biggs. Most of you know Melissa, but I'll give a brief introduction. She began her career with DePino, Nunes, and Biggs in 2007. Ms. Biggs is a graduate of Southern Connecticut State University with a BS in Liberal Arts and earned her Juris Doctorate degree from Western New England School of Law. Attorney Biggs, in her role as managing partner, directs and lobbies for clients at the Connecticut State Capitol. Melissa.
Thank you so much, Tom. This has been a really interesting summer watching how these elections play out. I'm sure everyone has been focused on what's happening at the federal level, but there has been a huge impact on what's going to happen on the local level as well. First thing, as a carryover from last session, is when we look to the 2023 legislative session, it is unclear what the building is going to look like. COVID is still an issue. As we left last year, lobbyists and members of the public were only allowed on the first floor in the legislative office building and on the first and second floor in the state capitol. So one of our goals at CTWEA is to raise our profile and increase legislators' awareness of how their policies impact their local community and their local WPCA. One of the ways we've done this in the past is host legislative breakfast. We hosted a legislative reception before COVID, but that is not an easy option anymore with COVID and the restrictions in the building. So one of the ideas the Government Relations Committee had was to conduct facility tours and inviting legislators into their local WPCA to understand what's going on, how they've been operating through COVID, and what things that they are struggling with at the moment. To date, we've had two really great legislative tours, one at Mattabassett and another one at Stamford. These have been eye-opening for legislators who've never toured their local WPCA, had no idea what type of technologies are in there, and what the water looks like once it's treated and how it impacts public health. So it was an opportunity to really increase their awareness. Stamford used, I think, an instruction, a pamphlet and video that they used for local classrooms, and we provided to legislators, and I think they really appreciated that. I see some state reps who have been part of their WPCA boards for a while and others who have no experience in this industry. And they really appreciate knowing what their local WPCA is doing and what they're struggling with. So if you're interested, please let us know. Elections are going to hinder when we can do tours in the next 2 weeks, but I do think this is a great opportunity, and if it's local, it's something that we can continue to do through the legislative session. So now we're looking on to what we anticipate for the 2023 legislative session. These are points that I'm asking people to highlight during these tours as well. One is PFAS. Recently, the state of Connecticut released an OLR report, which is basically an Office of Legislative Research report that a legislator requests to give them some background on an issue. And the background was about how Maine handled PFAS in the last 2 years. So yesterday, Vanessa helped us get on the phone with our Maine counterparts and learn from their experience. How did this state law impact them, and what are some of the challenges they face moving forward? And it's not necessarily an apples to apples comparison because they do things a little bit different, but it is helping us prepare for any proposals that come forward for this year and what issues might be concerning for WPCAs and how we can work with DEEP and with our state officials to get something on the books that will work for everyone. We also saw last year that there was bills about how we handle collections. I think one of the most interesting parts of that legislation, to Tom's point, is learning from everyone on the committee, how their WPCA handles those in the rears and what they do for payment plans or even pay schedules. It was really informative and it was great for legislators. I anticipate that this is an issue that we're going to continue to see raised. We also talked a little bit about federal dollars, and we have been blessed. The Connecticut budget is looking good for the first time in a long time. So I anticipate we will continue to see improvements and investments in infrastructure, which is something I think we should certainly be vocal on, because oftentimes people forget about the pipes under the road. They get very upset when something goes wrong, but they forget that they need to have the foresight, just like they are when they're driving on the road, that these need to have a care and attention. So I anticipate PFAS collection systems and infrastructure is something that we're going to be looking at for the next legislative session. And here's the benefit. I don't know if the building is going to be open or not, but what I have heard time and time again is that they will allow for public hearings to be remote or a hybrid. So if you're interested in testifying or participating, you don't have to worry anymore about driving to Hartford, waiting for 5 hours for your number to get called, and then testifying. You can do it from the comfort of your home. I think Ray in the past has been able to do it while he's doing some home improvement projects, because I'm not gonna lie, these hearings go on forever. You have to have patience, but my goal is to watch them so that you can go in and testify within an hour of when I ask you to turn on your camera. So we really try and make it not burdensome, but it is very important to get all of your perspectives. November 8th represents elections in Connecticut. The entire General Assembly is up for election. We have 30 retirements, and a lot of those retirements are people who have institutional knowledge. For example, Senator Craig Meyer from Litchfield County. He has been part of the Environment Committee for years. He has a tremendous amount of knowledge about WPCAs, and he is retiring. I anticipate his predecessor will also have similar knowledge base, but it will be working with a new Environment Committee, and there will be a lot of changes in leadership for all of those committees. So education will be greatly important. So our session will begin January 4th to June 7th. This is the time of year I caution everyone, on an odd number year, every legislator can propose any topic they want. And this is the time where we see these off-the-wall proposals that everyone hates instantly. Wait, they might not go anywhere. That's what I caution everyone. We'll send them out, we'll be monitoring them, but there's a lot of proposals people put in just because a constituent asked them to. So I suspect we will see a lot of that this year. And with that, that is all the updates we have on the government relations side. But thank you very much, and if you're interested in hosting a tour or learning more information, please let me know.
Thanks, Melissa.